Commander Alex Mercer's shuttle glided silently through the violet clouds of Vayara. From the viewport, the planet looked alive. Rivers of glowing liquid snaked between mountains that shimmered under twin suns, and forests of crystalline trees reflected light in millions of colors. Alex had traveled across the stars countless times, yet every new world had a way of surprising him. Vayara was no exception. The mission was straightforward, or so it seemed. Humans had never officially met the royal family of Vayara. Their civilization was advanced, intelligent, and proud. Many human diplomats had tried to gain favor, but only rumors had filtered back. Alex's assignment was simple: meet the alien leaders, ensure safe cooperation, and leave with strong ties between their civilizations. Yet, the whispers of the shuttle crew had set his mind on edge. "There's an incident in the palace," one of the navigators had said. "Something about the princess." "Be careful, Commander," Alex frowned. He was used to surprises, but the unknown was always more dangerous when mixed with politics. "Noted," he replied, his voice steady, hiding the curiosity burning inside. The shuttle descended over the capital city, a sprawling collection of towers, domes, and bridges that seemed to float above the ground. The alien architecture was unlike anything humans had built. There were no straight lines. Every structure curved and spiraled, organic and alive in design. Energy flows pulsed along the towers, visible as thin streams of light that connected building to building. As the shuttle landed on a polished platform, Alex adjusted his uniform and checked his communicator. Everything was in place. He stepped out, feeling the unusual gravity of Vayara tug slightly at his body. The air was different, lighter and tinged with a metallic scent, but breathable. A group of alien guards approached. They were tall and elegant, their skin a soft shade of silver, their eyes large and expressive. Each movement they made was precise, almost like a dance. "Commander Mercer," one of them spoke in melodic tones. The voice was translated into basic English in his ear. "Welcome to Vayara. The princess awaits you," Alex nodded. "Lead the way." The palace lay ahead, a structure that seemed to grow from the ground itself. Towers rose like enormous crystals, and bridges of transparent material connected different sections. Floating gardens hovered in the air, each plant glowing softly as if infused with its own energy. The beauty was mesmerizing, but Alex had no time to admire it. His mind remained focused on the mission and the whispered warning about the princess. Inside the palace, the hallways were lined with illuminated panels, each showing abstract patterns that shifted and danced. The patterns weren't just decoration. They were a form of communication. Guards and attendants moved fluidly, their gestures precise, passing messages through light and motion that Alex could only partially interpret. Even with the translation technology, he sensed he was only catching fragments. As they approached the royal chambers, Alex noticed a group of attendants huddled together, whispering urgently. Their eyes widened as they saw him pass. One of them gave a small bow, barely hiding a look of shock. Alex's curiosity deepened. Whatever incident had occurred seemed serious. The door to the throne room was unlike any door he had seen before. It was a single piece of iridescent material, shifting in color as if alive. The guard placed a hand against a panel, and the door dissolved into light, revealing the chamber beyond. Inside, the room was vast, filled with floating platforms and suspended bridges. In the center, surrounded by a halo of soft light, stood Princess Lysera. She was beautiful in a way that went beyond appearance. Her presence commanded attention. Her skin shimmered slightly, reflecting the light around her. Her eyes were a deep violet, intelligent and alert. Yet something about her posture suggested vulnerability, a hesitation that did not fit the confidence expected of a royal. Alex stepped forward cautiously. The guards remained at the edges, tense and watchful. Lysera turned her gaze toward him. For a moment there was silence, broken only by the hum of energy flows in the room. Then she spoke, her voice melodic, though tinged with uncertainty. "Commander Mercer," she said, bowing slightly. "I was not expecting this." Alex raised an eyebrow. "I'm here as your guest. Whatever happens, I assure you I mean no harm." Lysera's eyes flickered, and for the first time Alex noticed something unusual. A faint glow surrounded her hands, as if her emotions or thoughts were visible in the air. It wasn't dangerous, but it was unexpected. The attendants around her stiffened, and a few whispered urgently. Alex realized quickly that this was the incident he had been warned about. It wasn't a scandal in the ordinary sense. It was something far more unusual. The princess had been revealed in a state that exposed a secret she had kept hidden from everyone, and that secret involved abilities humans did not usually expect in aliens. He did not panic. Humans had faced the unknown before, and Alex knew that courage often mattered more than fear. He took a calm step forward. "Princess," he said, "whatever's happening, it's all right. I am here to understand, not to judge." Lysera's reaction was subtle but telling. She hesitated, then let out a soft breath. The glow around her hands dimmed slightly. It was the first sign of trust. Alex had learned long ago that human strength often came from their ability to stay composed under pressure. Here, in a palace of beings far more advanced in certain ways, that human calm was powerful. The attendants gradually relaxed, though their curiosity and concern were still evident. Alex could sense their unspoken thoughts. Who is this human? Why does he not fear what has been revealed? Lysera stepped closer to him, her eyes searching his face. You are different from the others. They would have recoiled. They would have reported me. But you... She trailed off, uncertain how to continue. Alex smiled faintly. "Different can be good," he said simply. "Sometimes the right reaction is to understand first, act later." A few moments of silence passed. Then one of the head attendants stepped forward cautiously. "Princess," they said, "Commander Mercer is prepared to meet with you formally. Shall we proceed?" Lysera nodded, straightening her posture. There was a subtle shift in her demeanor, confidence returning, but mixed with curiosity about this human who reacted unlike anyone else in her court. Alex followed her onto a floating platform, which carried them across the chamber. Below, streams of energy pulsed like rivers of light. Above, the ceiling reflected the twin suns outside, filling the room with warmth. It was beautiful, alien, and intimidating all at once. As they moved, Alex could not shake the feeling that this encounter was more than diplomacy. There was a story behind Lysera's revealed secret, one that could change the relationship between humans and Veyara forever. Humans had faced unknown threats before, and humans had always adapted. Here, in this moment, Alex realized that their ingenuity, empathy, and courage would be tested again, this time in the heart of an alien palace. Finally, they reached a central platform, and Lysera gestured for Alex to sit. The human took the seat carefully, noting the gravity of the moment. Lysera, meanwhile, adjusted her position, her expression a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. "You must have questions," she said softly. "I do," Alex admitted. "But I also want to hear your side. The truth is more important than appearances, Princess." For the first time, Lysera smiled faintly. It was a small gesture, but to Alex it spoke volumes. In her eyes he saw intelligence, courage, and the potential for trust. "Very well, Commander," she said. "Then listen carefully, for what I'm about to tell you may surprise even a human mind." Alex leaned forward, ready. Whatever secrets Veyara held, he was prepared to face them. Humans had a history of surviving and thriving in the unknown, and he would not fail now. Outside, the palace continued its quiet hum, indifferent to the drama unfolding inside. But within these walls, the first step of a remarkable alliance and a story of courage, trust, and understanding was beginning to take shape. The air inside the royal chamber of Veyara was calm, yet tense as Commander Alex Mercer sat across from Princess Lysera. He could feel the subtle hum of energy flowing through the room, almost like the planet itself was aware of the conversation taking place. Every detail of the palace, from the glowing platforms beneath their feet to the shimmering ceiling above, was meant to impress, but Alex's focus remained entirely on the princess and the secret she had inadvertently revealed. Lysera's violet eyes met his, filled with a mixture of caution and curiosity. The faint glow that had surrounded her hands earlier had not disappeared completely. It flickered occasionally like a candle struggling against the wind. Alex understood immediately. This was not a simple display of emotion. It was something deeper, something extraordinary. "You noticed it," Lysera said quietly, almost as if she feared saying it aloud might make it real. Alex nodded slowly. "Yes, and I am not surprised. Humans have always been fascinated by the unknown, but more importantly, humans respect honesty. Whatever this is, you are not in danger from me." Her shoulders relaxed slightly, though tension remained in her posture. "It is not something my people are ready to see," she admitted. If the court knew what I can do, they would fear me or worse, use me for their own ambitions. Alex leaned forward. Then let me understand it. Tell me, Princess. Why hide it? Lizara's glow intensified for a brief moment, betraying her emotions. Because it is different. I can sense what others feel, not just through words, but in ways that are deeper. I can see intentions, truths hidden beneath lies, emotions people try to conceal. This ability is not common among my kind. Alex's mind raced. Humans had always prided themselves on intuition and empathy. But here was an alien whose abilities surpassed ordinary observation. Yet despite her extraordinary power, she hesitated. She feared judgment. She feared exploitation. And humans are different too, Alex said carefully. We have ways of understanding others, not through power or control, but through courage, empathy, and trust. It is what allows us to survive in situations that seem impossible. Lizara looked at him thoughtfully. You speak as if you have faced the impossible yourself. I have, Alex replied. Many times. It is not about strength alone. It is about knowing when to act, when to observe, and when to trust. Sometimes the smallest act of honesty can change the course of events. The princess studied him, a faint smile forming on her lips. Perhaps you are different from other humans. I try to be, Alex said lightly, but beneath the light tone he meant every word. He had spent his life traveling between worlds, negotiating with alien civilizations and facing dangers that most humans could not imagine. Yet every experience had taught him one thing. Understanding another being, whatever their origin, often required patience and courage more than force. Lizara's glow dimmed slightly, and she leaned forward, lowering her voice. Commander, I have lived my life hiding this gift. Even my closest advisors do not know. It is considered dangerous, unpredictable. Some call it a threat. Alex's expression was steady. I see no threat. I see a leader with a gift. And I see someone who has been forced to hide it. That is not weakness, Princess. That is restraint. And it takes courage to carry it alone. For a moment, the chamber was silent except for the hum of the energy streams around them. Lizara seemed to consider his words carefully, weighing them against a lifetime of caution and secrecy. Then slowly she reached out her hand. The faint glow pulsed brighter, almost reaching the point it had when he first saw it. I do not know if I can trust you fully, she admitted, but humans have a reputation for courage. Perhaps that is why I do not fear you as I do others. Alex inclined his head. Trust is earned. And I promise, Princess, I will not betray it. The tension in the room eased slightly. The attendants, who had been lingering at the edges, now dared to observe without fear. The princess's reaction was subtle but clear. She was beginning to test the human in front of her, gauging whether his words were true. Then let me show you, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. She focused, and Alex could see the air around her hands shimmer, forming shapes and patterns that were almost like thoughts made visible. At first they were vague, abstract forms, but gradually they became clearer, reflecting emotions: fear, hope, curiosity, and loyalty. Alex watched in fascination. This was not a simple trick. This was a window into another being's mind, a true revelation of the inner world of someone he had only just met, yet he remained composed, knowing that any reaction of surprise or fear might make her retreat. You can see what others feel, Alex said softly. It is incredible. But it is not a curse, Princess. It is a gift. Lysra's glow flickered almost like a heartbeat. A gift, she repeated, or a burden. My people would see it as power, and power is always dangerous. I have lived my life hiding, pretending to be like them, following rules I do not always understand. Alex leaned back slightly, considering. Sometimes the right action is to be different, even if others fear it. Humans survive because we face the unknown, because we act with integrity, and because we take responsibility for what we are, not just what others expect us to be. Lysara's expression softened. For the first time, Alex saw a mixture of admiration and relief. She was beginning to understand that a human could see beyond the norms of her society, beyond the politics and whispers. Here was someone who valued truth over appearances. There is more to this, Lysara said cautiously. The court, some would use this ability to manipulate, to gain influence. If they discovered it, they might see me as a tool rather than a leader. That is why I must hide it always, until now. Alex nodded, his mind alert. Then it is clear why they would fear you. But fear does not mean you are weak. It means others recognize your potential, and potential, when guided by wisdom, is never a threat. Lysera considered him carefully. Then slowly she asked the question he had been waiting for. You are human. Why do you not react with fear or suspicion? Alex smiled faintly. Humans have learned that courage often comes from understanding, not force. I have faced beings with far more power than me. I have seen civilizations rise and fall, and I have learned that empathy and integrity can be stronger than any weapon. The princess looked at him with a new curiosity, a spark in her violet eyes. Perhaps humans are not like other visitors, she murmured. Perhaps that is why I feel safe with you. Safe enough to trust? Alex asked. Lysera's glow pulsed once, then dimmed. Safe enough to speak openly, she admitted. But not yet safe enough to reveal everything. Alex nodded. Fair enough. Trust must be earned step by step, and I will take each step as you allow it. For a while the two sat in silence, observing the patterns of energy around them. The chamber was filled with a quiet tension, but also a sense of possibility. Alex realized that this encounter was the beginning of something far larger than a diplomatic mission. The princess's secret was more than a personal revelation. It was a bridge between two civilizations, a chance for humans to show that courage and empathy could inspire even the most advanced societies. Commander, Lysera said after a long pause, I have lived my life in shadow. I have followed rules I did not always understand. Perhaps, with you I can learn a different way. Alex's eyes met hers, steady and reassuring. Then we will learn together. Humans and Viara can teach each other. Trust and understanding are stronger than fear, Princess, and sometimes they are the only tools we need to face the unknown. The attendants around them remained quiet, sensing that something extraordinary was unfolding. The princess, once hidden and cautious, was beginning to reveal a part of herself that few had ever seen. And the human sitting across from her, calm and observant, was proving that courage, empathy, and integrity could bridge worlds. Outside the palace continued its quiet hum. The twin suns cast shifting colors across the crystal towers, and the floating gardens swayed gently in the light. Inside, however, the first real connection between a human and an alien princess had been made. A connection built not on power or politics, but on understanding, trust, and courage. Alex knew that this was only the beginning. The princess had revealed a secret, but it was not just a secret, it was a challenge. A challenge to her court, to her people, and perhaps to the very future of Viara. And he would face it with her, step by step, as humans had always done, boldly, with integrity, and with hope. As the chamber quieted and the glow around Lysera's hands faded into a gentle shimmer, Alex felt a sense of determination. The unknown lay ahead, full of danger, intrigue, and discovery. But for the first time, he also felt a sense of possibility. Possibility that humans could not only survive in the galaxy, but also inspire, guide, and teach others through courage, understanding, and trust. The palace of Viara, which had seemed calm and majestic when Alex first arrived, now buzzed with a quiet tension. Word of the princess's revealed ability had begun to ripple through the royal court. Even though most of the court's officials had not witnessed the event, rumors spread like wildfire. The whispered words carried uncertainty, fear, and curiosity, each statement twisting the truth just enough to make the situation more dangerous. Commander Alex Mercer moved carefully through the corridors with Princess Lysera. He noticed the subtle stares and the hurried whispers. Some attendants looked away when their eyes met his, while others glanced at the princess with a mixture of awe and suspicion. Humans had been visitors before, but Alex realized something critical. His presence made the aliens uneasy, not because of hostility, but because they had never encountered someone who reacted with calm and understanding in a situation they found shocking. Lysera walked a step ahead, her hands lightly glowing as she focused on keeping her emotions under control. Her posture was regal, yet the faint tremor in her shoulders betrayed her inner anxiety. She sensed the fear and intrigue of the court, and it weighed heavily on her. For years she had hidden her abilities, keeping them secret to survive and lead. Now, for the first time, a human had seen her as she truly was, and the consequences were only beginning to unfold. They entered a council chamber, a massive room with towering arches and energy panels that displayed the history and lineage of the royal family. The chamber was usually reserved for private council meetings, But today it served as the stage for a tense conversation. Several high-ranking officials waited inside, their expressions carefully neutral, though their eyes betrayed their curiosity. Lysera turned to Alex. "They must know you are here, Commander. Your presence may raise questions, but it also gives me some protection. They will think twice before making any rash moves while a human diplomat is present." Alex nodded. "Then we proceed carefully. Let them reveal their thoughts before we act. Observing first can tell us more than speaking immediately." The princess took a deep breath and stepped forward, signaling to the council that the meeting was beginning. The officials bowed lightly as protocol required, but the tension in the room was palpable. The first to speak was Lord Vial, the chief advisor. His skin shimmered a pale blue and his voice carried authority. "Princess Lysera," he began, "we have received troubling reports. Rumors suggest you have revealed abilities that are unusual. Can you confirm this?" Lysera held her gaze steadily on him. "Yes, Lord Vale. I have abilities that differ from the usual. I can sense emotions, intentions, and truths that others might hide." She paused, letting the words sink in. "This is not a threat to anyone. I have not used it for personal gain, nor do I intend to. It is a gift, not a weapon." Murmurs ran through the council. Some voices expressed admiration, while others conveyed suspicion and fear. Alex observed carefully, noting every gesture, every subtle change in expression. Humans had a unique ability to read situations and intentions, and now he could apply it in an alien court, where each movement and word carried meaning beyond the obvious. "Your gift is dangerous," said another official. Lady Saren, her voice tight with concern. "Power that can see through minds can upset the balance of our society. It can be used to manipulate, to control." Lysera's hands glowed faintly, a subtle pulse showing her agitation. "That is why I have kept it hidden," she replied. "But hiding it does not make it harmless. I am careful. I use it responsibly. I am the princess, and I take responsibility for all my actions." Alex leaned slightly forward. "And that is what humans respect," he said. "Responsibility, courage, acting with integrity. Your people may fear what they do not understand, but it is not the ability itself that is dangerous. It is the choice of the one who wields it." "And Lysera has chosen wisely." The officials exchanged glances. Alex could sense hesitation in their reactions. They had never encountered a human who spoke with such quiet confidence, without arrogance or threat. It unsettled them, but it also made them reconsider their assumptions. Lord Vial stepped closer. "Commander Mercer," he said, his voice measured, "your presence here complicates matters. You have seen the princess's abilities. How can we be sure you are impartial? Can humans truly be trusted in matters of Vera?" Alex met his gaze steadily. "I am not here to manipulate or to interfere. I am here to observe, to understand, and to support cooperation. If your concern is trust, then let my actions speak for themselves. Humans survive and thrive because we value honesty and integrity. I have no interest in using Princess Lysera's abilities for my own gain." The council members shifted uneasily. Alex could feel their uncertainty. Some were impressed, others skeptical. This was exactly the tension he had expected. The delicate balance between fear, respect, and curiosity. Lysera stepped forward again. "You see, my council, humans can act differently than we expect. Commander Mercer does not react with fear or desire for control. He sees me as a leader, not a tool. That alone shows wisdom." Lady Saren's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps. But the court must remain cautious. This revelation, human or not, changes our society. How can we trust that it will not be exploited?" Alex responded calmly. "Trust is built over time. Fear is immediate, but it is not lasting. Humans and Veyara alike can learn to act with understanding. The choice to use power wisely lies with the individual, not with those who fear it." Lysera watched him, silently acknowledging the truth in his words. His perspective, calm and rational, contrasted sharply with the suspicion of her own court. She realized that humans were different in ways she had not anticipated. They faced danger not only with courage but also with empathy, a combination that could change the course of history if allowed. The tension in the room began to ease slightly. Some council members relaxed their posture, though Lady Saren remained cautious. Alex noticed that even a small shift in confidence could influence the balance of power here. The princess's ability was rare, but the human's presence and reasoning had begun to neutralize the fear surrounding it. "Commander," Lysera said quietly, Thank you for speaking. Your perspective, it helps me see that my abilities are not a curse but a responsibility, and perhaps a strength. Alex nodded. It is a strength because you choose to use it wisely. That is what makes it valuable, not the power itself. As the council meeting continued, Alex remained observant, noting patterns of behavior, subtle shifts in tone, and body language. He realized that his skills as a human diplomat were being tested in ways he had not anticipated. This court operated on rules both visible and hidden, and every word, every gesture carried weight. Hours passed, and the council gradually began to discuss the future. Some suggested stricter control over the princess's abilities, while others began to see the potential for cooperation with humans. Alex saw an opening, a chance to influence the court toward understanding rather than fear. He spoke carefully. Your society is advanced, but fear can undo even the greatest civilizations. Humans have faced unknown threats, and we have survived because we act with courage, empathy, and careful judgment. These are the same qualities that Princess Lysera demonstrates. Recognize them, and you will see that what seems dangerous can actually be a source of strength. Lysera's glow pulsed once more, subtle but steady. She had begun to trust him fully, not just as a diplomat but as an ally. The court, too, began to shift its perception. Even those who had been skeptical could not deny the calm confidence and reasoned words of this human visitor. By the end of the meeting, the council had agreed to proceed cautiously, but with a new sense of possibility. Lysera's abilities would be acknowledged, not hidden entirely, and her leadership would be supported, provided she continued to demonstrate responsibility and integrity. As the officials departed, Alex turned to Lysera. You handled that well, he said. Fear is always part of leadership, but you faced it directly. Lysera smiled faintly. I could not have done it without you. Your calm, your understanding, it made a difference. Alex shook his head. The difference was yours. I only reminded you of what you already had: courage, wisdom, and the willingness to act responsibly. That is something humans and Viara both share in our own ways. The princess nodded, a quiet determination settling over her. She had revealed her secret, faced the court's scrutiny, and emerged stronger. And with Alex's guidance and support, she began to see that her abilities were not a curse to hide, but a strength to wield responsibly. Outside the council chambers, the palace shimmered in the light of the twin suns. The floating gardens swayed gently, and the crystal towers reflected the colors of the world around them. Inside, however, a new understanding had been born. A human and an alien princess, working together, could face fear, challenge assumptions, and build a path toward trust and cooperation. Alex knew the journey was far from over. The court would continue to test her, and threats both internal and external would arise. But for now, the first step had been taken. The princess had faced exposure, and through it she had found strength. The human presence, calm and empathetic, had made that possible, and in that realization Alex felt a quiet hope. Humans had always survived by understanding, by acting with courage and integrity. Now, on a distant, the palace of Viara was quieter than usual, but Commander Alex Mercer sensed that danger was near. Even with the court's temporary calm, tension lingered in the air like an invisible storm. The whispered rumors of Princess Lysera's abilities had not disappeared. In fact, they had grown louder, twisting into stories of fear and ambition. Some members of the council were plotting, waiting for an opportunity to exploit her secret. Alex walked alongside Lysera through the palace corridors. The floating platforms shifted slightly beneath their feet as they moved, reflecting the twin suns' light in dancing patterns. Lysera's hands glowed faintly, not from emotion this time, but as a signal of her focus. She had learned to control her abilities carefully, revealing them only when necessary. Commander? Lysera said, her voice low and steady. I can feel the unease. The council may appear calm, but some among them are not content with my leadership. They see my gift as a weapon they can wield. I cannot ignore this. Alex nodded. I've faced similar situations before. The key is preparation and observation. Fear makes people reckless, and ambition makes them predictable. We can anticipate their moves if we act carefully. Lysera's violet eyes met his, filled with determination. Then we must act soon. I cannot allow them to manipulate my abilities for their own gain. Their first stop was the private chamber, where Lysera usually strategized with her closest advisors. Inside, the room was lined with transparent panels displaying star maps, political networks, and intelligence reports. Lysera gestured to the data streams floating in the air. These are the officials whose loyalty is questionable. Their actions may not yet be visible, but I can sense hesitation, uncertainty, and hidden motives. Alex studied the patterns. Humans and aliens both have ways of reading intentions. Your gift gives you insight, but careful planning can multiply its effect. Let's map out who might act first and how. The princess concentrated, and the glow around her hands intensified slightly. Patterns emerged, showing which officials might betray her, who was motivated by power, and who might act impulsively. Alex watched closely, noting every detail. Humans had a way of analyzing information logically and quickly, and combining that with Lysera's unique ability created a powerful advantage. "Commander, I see it clearly now," Lysera said. "Lord Vale and Lady Saren may be tempted to act against me if they think I am unprotected. They have influence, connections, and patience, but they cannot anticipate your strategies. Perhaps, together we can prevent conflict before it starts." Alex smiled faintly. "Exactly. Prevention is often stronger than reaction. Let's prepare for the moment they decide to move. We observe first, act second." Hours passed as they monitored the court's activity. Alex and Lysera worked in silence, analyzing behaviors, reading expressions, and tracing subtle signals. By nightfall, patterns of a potential plot had become clear. A faction of officials planned to confront Lysera during the council meeting the next day, hoping to force her to demonstrate her abilities publicly or to question her judgment. Lysera's glow dimmed slightly as she considered this. "If they succeed, they will use my gift as a weapon, turning my people against me. I cannot allow that to happen." Alex placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to face this alone. Humans survive dangerous situations because we plan, adapt, and act decisively. We do not panic, and we do not act blindly. Together we can turn their plans into opportunities instead of threats." The next morning, the council convened as usual, though tension was palpable. The officials moved carefully, their eyes darting between Lysera and Alex. Some whispered softly, trying to gauge how much the human visitor knew. The air was thick with anticipation, as though the palace itself held its breath. Lord Vile spoke first, his tone calm but firm. "Princess Lysera, the court has heard the rumors. Some members are concerned that your abilities may give you undue influence. We request that you demonstrate your abilities publicly, to prove that they are not being misused." A wave of murmurs spread through the chamber. Alex could feel the intent behind the words. This was not curiosity, but an attempt to manipulate the princess, to force her hand and expose her secret to the entire court. Lysera's glow pulsed, a subtle sign of her concentration and rising anxiety. Alex stepped forward quietly. "If I may," he said calmly, "I suggest caution. Demonstrating abilities under pressure can be dangerous. It can create fear, misunderstanding, and conflict. Observing and understanding intentions first is wiser than rushing into exposure." The officials looked at him, surprised by his confidence. Alex continued, "Humans have survived situations far more dangerous than political tension, because we act with reason, not fear. Princess Lysera's abilities are her choice to reveal, not a tool to be demanded from her." Lady Saren's eyes narrowed. "And what would you suggest, human? That we simply ignore the risk?" Alex shook his head. "Not ignore, but prepare. Anticipate their moves. Prevent conflict before it happens. Fear and ambition drive most actions, but careful observation can turn even a plot into an opportunity for stability and trust." Lysera studied him, absorbing his words. For the first time, she felt a sense of relief. This human had not only observed her abilities, but had also understood their implications. His calm presence allowed her to focus, to prepare, and to plan. During the meeting, subtle signals passed between Alex and Lysera. She used her gift quietly, sensing hidden motives while he analyzed patterns of behavior. Together, they identified the officials most likely to act impulsively, and the precise moment they would make their move. As the council session continued, Lord Vielle attempted to push the issue, asking pointed questions about Lysera's decisions and hinting that her abilities might compromise her judgment. Alex interjected smoothly, using calm reasoning to deflect suspicion while highlighting Lysera's wisdom. His words emphasized responsibility and foresight, qualities both humans and Veyra valued. Lady Saren tried to escalate the tension further, but Lysera was ready. Her glow pulsed faintly as she projected a subtle signal of her emotional state, not as a display but as a shield. Alex noticed immediately, understanding that her abilities were being used strategically, not impulsively. The council members began to hesitate. The careful observation and measured responses of both the princess and the human visitor disrupted their plan. The moment of potential betrayal passed without incident, leaving the officials unsure of how to proceed. After the council meeting ended, Lysera and Alex returned to the private chamber. The tension had not disappeared entirely, but the immediate threat had been neutralized. Lysera's glow faded and she exhaled slowly. "Commander," she said, "I could not have managed that without you. Your reasoning, your calm, it made a difference. The court may still plot, but for now I am safe." Alex smiled faintly. "That is the power of careful observation and preparation. Humans survive by understanding others, by anticipating danger and by acting decisively when the time comes. You used your gift wisely, and together we turned a threat into an advantage." Lysera nodded. "I see now that my abilities combined with wisdom and courage are not just a secret to hide. They are tools to guide, protect, and lead. And perhaps humans can teach even the most advanced civilizations something valuable." Alex's expression was thoughtful. "Every civilization has its strengths. Humans survive because we use reason, empathy, and courage. You already possess the same qualities, Princess. Your gift amplifies them, it does not replace them. That is why the court's fear is misplaced. It is not your ability but the perception of it that creates danger." Lysera smiled faintly, her glow softening. "Then we continue carefully. I will use my abilities with purpose, not fear. And with your guidance, Commander, I will protect my people and maintain stability." Alex nodded. "That is the way of humans. Careful planning, observation, and decisive action when necessary. Together we can face whatever challenges arise." Outside the palace, the twin suns bathed the city in golden light. The floating gardens swayed gently, and the crystal towers reflected the brilliance of the morning. Inside, however, the palace had already changed. The princess had faced a direct threat and emerged stronger, not by force but through strategy, wisdom, and trust in a human ally. Alex understood that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges. The court would continue to test Lysera, and external threats would eventually arrive. But for now, the first test had been overcome. The princess had embraced her abilities, and humans had shown their unique strength, not through weapons, but through courage, reasoning, and empathy. And as they prepared for the days ahead, both Alex and Lysera knew one thing. The bond they had formed in facing danger together was not just personal. It was a bridge between two civilizations, a connection that could shape the future of Veyara and humans alike. The sun rose over Veyara, casting golden light across the floating gardens and crystal towers. The palace, which had been filled with tension and whispers for days, now seemed calm. Yet Commander Alex Mercer knew that true challenges often came quietly, unseen until the moment they struck. Princess Lysera stood on a balcony, gazing at the city below. Her violet eyes reflected determination and a new sense of purpose. The events of the past days had changed her. She had revealed her secret, faced scrutiny from her council, and survived attempts at manipulation. More importantly, she had learned to trust, not just in herself but in Alex, the human who had guided her through uncertainty. Alex stepped beside her. "The court will test you again," he said quietly. "Some will never stop doubting, but you've proven that fear and suspicion cannot dictate your actions." Lysera nodded. "I see that now. My abilities are not a burden to hide. They are a responsibility to use wisely. And with allies I can trust, I am stronger than I imagined." Alex smiled faintly. "Humans survive because we face the unknown with courage and reasoning. We act with integrity and adapt to situations. You've done the same, Princess. That is why you've succeeded." Inside the palace, the council had convened again, this time in a more formal assembly. Lord Vale and Lady Saren sat among the officials, their expressions cautious but restrained. They had observed the interactions between Lysera and Alex and realized that bold action backed by reason and foresight could not be ignored. "Princess Lysera," Lord Vile began, his tone carefully measured, "the past days have tested your leadership. We have seen your abilities firsthand, and we recognize your wisdom in using them responsibly. This court acknowledges your strength, A murmur of agreement ran through the assembly. Some officials who had been skeptical now nodded, while others remained silent, weighing the evidence of Lysera's competence against their own fears. Lady Saren rose slowly. "It is clear now that fear cannot be the guide of our decisions. Princess, your abilities combined with your judgment have proven that you are fit to lead. We will respect your authority." Lysera allowed herself a small smile. The acknowledgement of her counsel was important, but the real change had come from within. She had faced exposure, learned to trust, and realized that courage and wisdom were stronger than fear. Alex stepped forward, addressing the council. "Leaders of Veyara," he said calmly, "your princess has demonstrated qualities that humans value greatly: responsibility, empathy, and the courage to act wisely. Fear is natural, but it must not dictate decisions. Cooperation, understanding, and trust are far more powerful tools than suspicion or manipulation." The council members listened carefully. His words carried weight, not because he commanded authority, but because he spoke with calm clarity, reflecting the strength of humanity's approach to challenges. After the assembly ended, Lysera and Alex walked together through the palace gardens. The floating flora swayed gently, casting colorful reflections across the crystal floors. It was a rare moment of peace in a world that had seen so much tension in just a few days. "Commander," Lysera said softly, "I have learned something valuable from you. Humans are not only courageous, they teach courage. They show that understanding and trust can change situations that seem impossible. That is something my people can learn too." Alex looked at her with quiet admiration. "And humans can learn from your example. Leadership, responsibility, and using abilities wisely. These are qualities that transcend species. Together we can show that cooperation between civilizations is possible." Lysera's hands glowed faintly as she reflected on the journey so far. "Then we build an alliance, not just for politics, but for understanding. Humans and Veyara can learn from each other, strengthen each other, and face the future together." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Fear divides, but understanding unites. Your gift, your courage, and your wisdom, combined with humanity's adaptability and empathy, can create a foundation for lasting cooperation." The following weeks were filled with preparations for a formal alliance ceremony. Delegates from both human and Veyaran civilizations arrived, bringing messages of peace, curiosity, and mutual respect. The palace, once a place of whispered tension, now hummed with excitement and purpose. Lysera worked closely with Alex, planning every detail of the ceremony. She knew that appearances mattered, but more importantly, she focused on substance, demonstrating leadership, wisdom, and the responsible use of her abilities. Alex advised quietly, reminding her of human principles: honesty, calm reasoning, and the power of empathy. On the day of the ceremony, the palace was filled with dignitaries, officials, and observers from both worlds. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, casting brilliant patterns of light across the floating gardens. Lysera stood at the center, radiant and composed. Her hands glowed faintly, a symbol of her abilities and her confidence in using them responsibly. Alex stood beside her, calm and observant, ready to support her if needed. He noticed the subtle glances of officials who had once doubted her, now replaced by respect and acknowledgement. The shift in perception was clear. Courage, wisdom, and integrity had prevailed over fear and suspicion. Lysera addressed the assembly. "Leaders, delegates, and friends," she began, her voice clear and steady. "The past days have tested my abilities, my judgment, and my leadership. I have faced exposure, scrutiny, and doubt. Yet through courage, trust, and careful reasoning, we have navigated these challenges. I stand before you not only as your princess, but as a leader committed to responsibility, understanding, and unity." She paused, letting her words resonate. The energy in the chamber seemed to respond, the floating lights reflecting her calm confidence. "Today we begin a new chapter. Humans and Veyara will work together, learning from each other, respecting each other, and building a future based on cooperation, empathy, and courage." Alex stepped forward. "Your Highness speaks truth," he said. "Humans and Veyara, though different in many ways, share the same values at the core: courage in the face of the unknown, responsibility for one's actions, and respect for others. These are the foundations of lasting alliances." The assembly erupted in applause. Officials who had once questioned Lysira's judgment now acknowledged her strength. The alliance was not just political, it was a symbol of trust, understanding, and shared values. Later, as the ceremony concluded, Lysira and Alex walked through the palace gardens once more. The floating flora glimmered in the evening light, and the city below reflected the twin suns in brilliant hues. "You have taught me much, Commander," Lysira said softly. "Not just about trust, but about courage, responsibility, and the strength that comes from understanding." "Humans are remarkable," Alex shook his head. "You've shown me that courage and wisdom are universal. Your leadership, your ability to face exposure, and your careful judgment are inspiring. Humans and Vayara can both learn from each other. That is the true strength of this alliance." Lysira smiled, her glow soft and steady. "Then we move forward together as partners, as allies, and as friends. Humans and Vayara will face the future side by side, learning, growing, and supporting one another." Alex nodded. "And whatever challenges arise, we will meet them with courage, reasoning, and trust. That is what humans do. And now, that is what Vayara will do as well." As the twin suns set over the horizon, the palace shimmered in soft golden light. Inside, a human and an alien princess had forged a bond that would shape the future. They had faced fear, scrutiny, and threats, yet emerged stronger. The court had acknowledged wisdom over suspicion, and the alliance between humans and Vayara had been solidified. In that moment, Alex realized something profound. Humans survived and thrived not just through strength, but through empathy, courage, and integrity, and now on a distant world among alien towers and floating gardens, those same qualities had inspired change, respect, and hope. Lysira turned to him, her violet eyes glowing softly. "Commander, when I was exposed, I feared judgment, manipulation, and betrayal. But you showed me another way. You showed me that courage, trust, and understanding can turn fear into strength." Alex smiled. "And you showed me that leadership, responsibility, and the careful use of one's gifts can inspire even the most advanced civilizations. Together, humans and Vayara can achieve more than either could alone." The palace doors opened to the night sky, the stars of 1,000 systems visible above. The floating gardens reflected the starlight, creating a tapestry of colors and light that seemed almost alive. In that moment, Commander Alex Mercer and Princess Lysira knew that the galaxy held many challenges, but also many opportunities. Together they had faced the unknown, transformed fear into strength, and built an alliance that would endure. The story of a human and an alien princess, once separated by worlds and species, had become a story of trust, courage, and unity. And in that story, humanity's unique qualities, empathy, integrity, and bravery, shone brightly, lighting the path for a future where civilizations could learn from one another and thrive together. The twin suns set slowly, painting the palace in shades of gold and violet. Inside, Lysira's glow pulsed faintly, steady and confident. Beside her, Alex remained calm, observant, and ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The alliance had been forged. Fear had been faced. Trust had been